Today we're going to learn about planting garlic. So this is beautiful garlic cloves, very large cloves, you see, that are broken up here. So these were originally a big bulb of garlic, a nice little cluster, but we have stripped them from the stem. All right, and the reason why you want to take the biggest cloves is because the way it works is the bigger the clove that you plant means that the bigger bulb of garlic you will grow, okay? And garlic takes about 8 to 9 months for it to do its whole process, its whole germination cycle. So the best time to plant garlic is actually in the fall after the first frost, okay? So usually I plant it around November in the zone that I am in. We recently just had a nice hard frost earlier in the week, and so now I've decided to plant the garlic. What I've done to prepare the beds before planting the garlic is I have actually taken a bunch of compost from my compost. So we did another video talking about composting. Well, this is a great use of the compost, putting it in the garden or also just when planting. For anything, basically all you need is this wonderful crumbly brown compost. This has all the nutrients that you will need. You do not need to add any other type of fertilizer. It's usually perfectly balanced with nitrogen, potassium, magnesium, all the nutrients that the plants will need, okay? And garlic actually does not need a lot of fertilizer either. You basically I usually just use the compost when planting, and then in the spring I usually will give it a little bit of fish fertilizer one time, and that's really it. So the way it works is, you see how I have kept these cloves intact. You want to try to keep the paper as most intact as possible, because that's another thing that will protect the bulb through the winter. All right, and so you always want to plant them butt side down, okay? So the pointy part facing up, and you want to put them about 2 inches into the soil, okay? 2 inches below the soil. And usually I don't really dig a hole. I mean, this is very loose compost, so I usually just kind of stick my hand and push them down into the soil, okay? You can just kind of move it aside and then place it in and then cover it. That works too. Either way will be fine as long as it is 2 inches down into the soil. So I've learned a really cool trick, because you have to actually plant them about 6 inches apart, which for some people, depending on how big your hand is, right? Your hand is about 6 inches, like if you go from pinky to thumb, okay? But what I've got here is this really cool way to measure 6 inches. And all I did was just take, an Amazon box, measure 6 inches, made a little triangle of cardboard. And so what I'm going to do is then put this on the ground and put a clove here, a clove here, a clove here, and just space it all the way around. And then I will know exactly where to plant them, 6 inches. I don't even have to think about it. I can just put it down, 1, 2, 3, push in the ground. Put it down, 1, 2, 3, push in the ground, right? So, and that is pretty much it about planting. It's very easy. Garlic is one of the most easiest plants that you can grow. You just have to follow the process of, planting it in the ground in the fall and letting it do its hibernation process throughout the whole winter, okay? One thing that's really important though, because it's going to go through the winter, is that you want to actually cover it with either mulch. So I have over here, I have some mulch that actually I inoculated a bunch of mushrooms in, okay, in the spring. But I'm going to take that same mulch and cover that bed that's down there. This bed, I actually had already put mulch underneath, and I put the soil on top. So what I'm going to do is, this is a great way to utilize your grass clippings, your leaves. There's actually a little bit of straw in here. So anything like that. And so you want to cover, after you plant the garlic, you want to cover it with that little bit of mulch, whatever organic matter that you have. It can be, I have pine needles here I'm going to utilize. You have wood chips, leaves, grass clippings, straw, whatever that may be. It's just a way to insulate and protect the garlic. And it's generally actually a really good practice to do on your garden beds to protect the soil so it doesn't deal with the harshness of winter and that freezing and thawing and that top layer getting really crusty, which will happen if the soil is exposed to the open air through the winter. If you put the leaves or mulch, anything like that on top, it'll actually prevent that from happening and keep that top layer fertile, and also helping with, you know, keeping the organisms alive, the worms, the insects, all those things. It makes it very beneficial to go throughout the whole year, through that winter season, right? All right, so you see I got my little triangle here. I'm gonna put this, I'm actually gonna make my rows going this way, okay? So I'm putting my triangle here. We're gonna start with that one there, that one there, and that one there. So that'll be my row, okay? And so then all I gotta do is just kind of dig a little bit with my hand. This ground, because there was a first frost, I forgot about that. The ground is a little bit harder, okay? So I might have to dig a little bit, but that's okay. Sometimes you can kind of push them in and that'll work too, okay? Then we'll cover this there. Yeah, it seems to be a little bit easier in this section. Maybe there's more soil in the middle. We'll push that down. There we go, beautiful. All right, and that'll be my little process here. So it's very simple, and you don't have to do anything. You don't have to, oh, look at that, there's a little worm, see? That's good soil. So you don't have to do anything after you do this, right? You already have the fertilizer from the compost, and you don't need to water it because it's basically like going in hibernation mode. You see how I got that butt down, pointy tip facing up. Make sure it's nice and covered, and that's all you need to do. All right, so that is the process of planting garlic. So what we did, we had our little triangle here to measure out the 6 inches. We did one on each end of the triangle, and then we're gonna continue going down to make multiple rows, right? And after that, I'm going to take the organic matter and cover it to protect that layer for the winter. And we have been planting that in a nice layer, nice thick layer of compost. So if you have any questions, feel free to message me and bring them up at the monthly meeting.